Welcome to Corrective Consciousness, episode 216, the podcast where we explore the inanity of pop culture. I am your stuck the landing host, vysethebold, and this is
Lotus Prince
and Dracologist.
I have to remember that all of you don't listen to my outtakes. Oh shit!
Yeah, every once in a while, you know, we'll keep whatever, keep going. But like, yeah, oftentimes if you flub a take in the opening, we just cut it.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be really bad in the beginning, just because, like, you know, like...
Yeah. I just love the idea of, like, but Vice is perfect all the time. Why does he keep talking about stuck the landing or did not stick the landing?
Well, I used to be, like, not have my nerves under control and, you know, that kind of thing while I was doing the intro, so... Which
is funny, because if you think about it, you're not performing in front of a panel. Like, you're on Skype.
Well, I also, like...
I know you use a different part of your brain when you, like, public speak. Like I get it. It's just kind of funny to me. It's not like, oh no, stage fright. Like, there is no stage.
Well, I'm also, like, reading something. I'm not, like, coming up with off the top of my head or whatever. So, anyway, I think I'm real solid, though. But anyway, welcome back to another lovely episode, and we're going to be talking about a subject that is near and dear to our hearts. It is the boomer shooter, or the retro-style first-person shmup that has really been taking off as of late. Because, you know, I as much as I like the modern ones, I just, you know, there's something good about the good old-school FPS that
there's something pure about them. You shoot the thing. Like Doom 16 tries to be as pure as it can, but there's still a lot of side quests, which I actually really like.
I love the side quests in that game.
Go get to the end, do it.
Yeah, no, I mean,
no hiding behind cover, no talking support character.
You stand there, and if you get shot, that's because you were in their field of vision. Like, that's it.
The story is very minimal, if at all.
With Doom, it was like text crawls every like 10 levels, and you didn't really care. And it was a bunch of bullshit anyway. You made it to the next base. You see a bunch of dead bodies. It's like, yeah, I already knew that.
They killed your bunny. I mean,
that's inexcusable.
But you know, they could just keep adding more episodes to the original Doom in between, like Doom 2, because like they could just say, "Oh, the
remember, EA said that all of the ones that have ever been made are canon." Oh dear.
That's terrifying.
Is Doom 3 canon? Doom 3 is like the one in question, right?
Well, Doom 3 is the one that Romero looked at when we discussed, so probably not.
But Doom 3 is also Doom 1. Like, the only
it's a remake of Doom 1, yeah.
Yeah, the only thing that you would argue whether it's canon or not is like whether Dr. Betriger exists.
That said, in Doom 16 there is like when you go to the office of the main bad guy, you can actually see a miniature Hell Cube on her desk, one of her working desks. So reference, TDD.
Hey,
yeah. But I kind of wanted to do this because, you know, I've been picking up a few. I actually just picked up Wrath.
So how was it?
I'm really liking what's going on with Wrath. It makes me think about what's the Painkiller. It makes me feel like Painkiller.
Honestly, I feel that the weapons need a lot of polishing because.
Yeah, I can understand what you mean about that, but I like the way they feel. So far, so good.
The shotgun feels nice, but
shotgun's nice. Yeah,
the shotgun's nice. The pistol could be better because the primary and the alt fire are the primary fire is okay. The alt fire feels like tagged on. The machine gun weapon, you know, the fang splitter.
The teeth, the fangs.
Teeth gun. It's kind of like the alt fire feel redundant, and like the fact that they removed from 300 to 200 to just 100 ammo feels really nice. Like really kept the knee of that gun.
Yeah, I do like the melee weapon, though. I thought the melee weapon was a good melee weapon, which is hard to do.
I'm trying to think of like really satisfying melee weapons, like maybe
Painkiller.
Yeah.
make Painkiller.
Painkiller actually was pretty good, yeah.
And
Half-Life 2, kind of.
Half-Life 2 has probably the best.
Gene Simon's X in Kiss Psycho Circus, because you just swing that thing and everything just evaporates.
You're the only person in the world that's referencing that.
Yeah, the way Vice and I talk about Windjammers, the way School Filmer talks about Mr. Schmoozle goes nuts, so like you bring up Kiss Psycho Circus.
Yeah. Why don't we talk about Heavy Metal Fact 2 while we're at it?
I know that game.
I think they're on the same engine, those two games, but
not Lit Tech.
Actually, Deus Ex's Crowbar isn't bad.
But yeah, I also like the wrench in BioShock.
I forgot how it feels in BioShock. I remember it being underwhelming.
The drill in BioShock 2.
Yeah, I mean they love that yellow wrench.
Well, Wrath, what you have is you have like a
on blade.
Like, yeah, it's like a blade that like sticks out, but its alternate is actually almost like a platforming thing, because you thrust so great that you could use it as kind of like an extra little jump.
It's a dash move, basically.
Dash.
It is basically like an air dash, so it is essential for grabbing, hidden caches and things like that.
You can actually use it to climb up small ledges you can jump on. You can't jump on.
Yeah, I actually really like it, but keep in mind that Wrath is an early access game, so any criticism that like Dracologist is coming up with right now is potentially...
Yes, but I also screaming at the developers from the discussion pages, so...
Yeah.
You see, like, you guys keep talking about Wrath. I bought Sloth 3 years ago, but I haven't tried it yet.
I was thinking to go with a different...
What's in the box, Lotus? What's in the box?
Fucking boomer shooter.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, it's Gwyneth Paltrow. But yeah, Wrath is cool, and it Painkiller was a throwback for its time at the time. It and Serious Sam were coming out, when in the era of Half-Life 1, and
although even those though, they were like kind of throwbacks because they were simple FPSs, but like, Painkiller I guess was a throwback, but Painkiller
was unique because actually they didn't do like the classic boomer shooter when you had like start with pistol and a shotgun, and isn't it? You start with a meat grinder and a shotgun.
Weapons. Yeah, you had crazy weapons, but what I was going to mention, though, was, like, I guess it's more Painkiller 3 lined up with Serious Sam, where they were more, like, arena shooters.
Yeah,
like, Doom would have some rooms where it's, like, a giant room with a million enemies, and that's the challenge, but with Serious Sam, like, that's the game.
That's all that was, yeah. So Serious Sam really emulated, like, the last levels of each each episode.
Serious Sam is go to it in Final Doom.
Yeah, basically, yeah. But when you have like hordes and hordes of mancubi just like trying to murder you.
Painkiller 3 turned into that. The games weren't numbered, but it was like Painkiller Resurrection, or it was Painkiller something.
Painkiller was like several like arenas. The game was several arenas split up, and you just got enemies coming and coming and coming, and you were shooting and shooting and shooting. It was just...
And by the way, Painkiller 1's melee weapon is, like, perfectly viable. You can beat a level with that.
Yeah, I really liked the stake weapon in that game, too.
Oh, yeah.
I really enjoyed that. But I like Wrath better than Painkiller, because Painkiller felt very... I got monotonous after a while, just like... It just didn't have enough variety for me, and...
That's how I felt about Painkiller 3. It was just like, where am I going? Because Painkiller 1 had a plot. Painkiller 3 was just like, it was enemies.
But Wrath definitely has, like...
Mind you, many of the new Painkiller games are just map packs made by third parties.
And it feels that way.
But Wrath definitely has the level design down. Which is
the level
probably
designs
the most
are fantastic. Did you try which level you tried?
I went into the like the blizzard, or the wintry
Undercroft
area.
There is two winter area. One there's Undercroft and the Priory.
it's like a catacombs kind of thing going on.
There is another
I really like it.
By the way, it's worth to go to the priority first because it has the only place where you can pick up the fifth gun, the flag cannon.
What level do I need to go?
Priority. You have to go up to the top of the level where there is a remaining of a wall. You have to go a little exploring.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it so far, and like I said, this is a 3D Realms game, so which is pretty cool. From the makers of Duke Nukem 3D and
also there are some people that accompanied it to a little bit of Daikatana because of the saving system, though it's a little bit more forgiving. That said, in days of convenient autosaves, you can pretty much
you have limited saves, which I thought was interesting. Yeah, you have a limited amount of saves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is a cool game.
Do you mean limited amount of save files or the amount of times you can save?
The amount of times you could save.
You have to pick up items.
So it's like Resident Evil.
Yeah, yes. Like one of the collectibles that you find scattered around is like the save icon.
So the ink ribbons.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
You can basically save anywhere, and if you
so you don't find the typewriter.
No.
Yeah, it's not a quick. It's basically limiting how much you can cheese a quick save.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
But you basically get plenty of, even on the hard difficulties, there are plenty of to pick up. Also, there are like little shrines you can go into that refill your health and save your game. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so this game is based off of, they said they are basing it off of the original Quake's technology.
Yeah.
But it looks a lot better than Quake 1 ever did.
It's a modded version of the Quake engine, actually.
Does it look as good as Quake 2 on the Nintendo 64?
No, it looks like a Quake 1 game.
I mean, I think people forget that like Half-Life 1 is based off of Quake 1, or is it Quake 2?
Quake 2.
Quake 2, okay. So, but I'm just saying, but yeah, it's heavily modified. It looks good.
Quake?
What's that?
Which
Wedding Quake?
Wedding Quake.
I love Wedding Quake. Death to us.
Till death do us part.
That's Quake 3, by the way.
Yeah, like definitely check out what that game. What's the name of that game again?
Jazzpunk.
Jazzpunk. Oh god, Jazzpunk is the.
I really should let's play that at some point because it's just like, look at this.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's very elaborate. Like all of the jokes in it are very.
It's basically a fun toy box like easy game.
Exactly.
You're like, look at this pie, just like Meemaw used to make, and you throw it in his face. I have 4th-degree burns.
I think
my favorite is
like the
call
bland robotic voice that he said that line.
What was it, Dracologist?
Like my Mima used to make, and I have burns now. It's like the bland robotic voice
with the super deep voice, like I have 4th-degree burns. But my favorite joke, hands down, is the fire alarm, the ice alarm, and then you take like GoldenEye 64 damage.
It even like lowers the frame rate.
It drops the frame rate.
Yeah, it's so good.
And you do
on
that
purpose.
You do that GoldenEye injured sound like.
Yeah. It's one of the only times you can get hurt in the game too.
I think it might be the only time.
It's great. But yeah,
I think I managed to dive into an enthusiast pool once. So,
very impressive.
Wrath is absolutely worth your time, and it's an early access game, so like you will have some input in the way that the game is shaping up, but their level design is already there, so just tightening up some of the weapon stuff, as Dracologist was mentioning, is probably all that needs to happen. Because
also, maybe balancing out some damages, because one enemy managed to burn through with one single shot managed to burn through like 100 armor and health.
Yeah, but you know what? That kind of tweaking is the stuff that gets done in early access. I mean, they have their fundamentals down. It's a fun game to play as it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really enjoying it. Out of all of the boomer shooters that have been coming out, it's probably my favorite.
I think I would crown Ion Fury for it because that feels complete.
Yeah, we'll get to that, but Ion Fury is certainly included in this conversation. But I also wanted to mention Black Mesa, because this is also a throwback in a way. It is an officially sanctioned fan remake.
I wouldn't call Half-Life a boomer shooter. It was
because it's the end of boomer shooters. It's the canonical end of boomer shooters. But I still have to mention it because it's kind of part of this conversation. Obviously, it's a classic first-person shooter. Half-Life is the start of the modern shooter, I would say. But Half-Life is one of the games that I've replayed the most, just because of how good it was, and Half-Life 2 is way up there as well, and it just was a joy, absolute joy to play, and somehow they pulled off completely remaking that game with Black Mesa. It is an officially sanctioned fan remake of Half-Life. And it is just a joy to play. I've been playing through it, and I got back to fighting the helicopter, which, oh my god, like that helicopter like menaces you for a long time, and then you finally you finally get the tools to fight it, and it is one of like the best battles in any first-person shooter ever. It's just so much fun.
What I really liked about Half-Life was that like, you didn't press a button to beat a level and load the next level. I mean, you might load areas, but like, you walk more down the hallway, and then little text appears on the screen, like the name of the next chapter of this game. So it felt seamless.
Yeah, it was a contiguous journey, and even towards the end of the game, you can actually see your progress from where you walked from, in the distance.
Yeah, go ahead.
Was it Black Mesa when you could pick up the hive gun, and if you put it in front, use it in front of one of the NPCs, it comments on that fact?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
Clever if so, but I do like though how Half-Life's levels feel like a real space, because like Doom and Wolfenstein, like, they felt like video game levels. This is a room where enemies are.
Yeah,
even Doom's like cities that are supposed to be realistic spaces do not feel.
But Half-Life
mostly because
mostly
because of the limitation of technology.
Of course.
That said, it has to be said that what's it called? Blakestone managed to pull off this place is a laboratory, even if it has one level.
Yeah, Blakestone did a decent job. But what was interesting about Half-Life, though, I love Blakestone. But what was interesting about Half-Life, though, is that they had rooms that like wouldn't make sense to have in a video game level.
Because there's nothing,
or a bathroom, because like it's a place that would realistically exist, but like, you don't need to go into the closet. You know, little things like that. Like, Half-Life has places that just felt more realistic because it wasn't like, oh, well, you need to go in here to get the item. Like, it was just another room that exists. Also, I think I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but Half-Life coined the term and possibly the genre of on-a-rail shooters, because it has that one gimmick level on a rail where you're on like a monorail the entire level, so you have to just deal with whatever comes to you. I mean, when we picture on-a-rail shooters today, we usually picture like you don't even control the
House of the
Dead character.
Yeah, like a gun
it might
shooter.
be like you just aim the camera. With Half-Life, it's still an FPS, you can walk around, but you're trapped in this very small area, and you're at the mercy of the game carrying you from one place to another. So that's an OG on-a-rail shooter.
Yeah, I've really been enjoying it because like I already love Half-Life to begin with, but like there's literally no reason to go back to it other than like for academic purposes, because like this is it, but like the way that you remember it, you know, it's just so much like time was put into the detail to making it look like a modern version of that game. Things have been redone to make it feel more epic. Some firefights have been completely retooled, and Zen is a completely different space than it used to be. In fact, it's a lot longer
in the original game.
Yeah, it was the letdown. It was the final area of the game, and people didn't like it.
Whatever. Yeah.
But the new one is way better. It's like it's a great time. From all accounts, I have not gotten there yet.
And you know what I also respect about the OG Half-Life is its like carefully timed music. You don't constantly have a cool video game beat in the background because like I'm gonna be taking out enemies all the time. Let's play some action music. You would have rad music when there was a chase sequence or a particular firefight maybe, or like important moments, because most of the game doesn't have music, but like when you first get the suit and the theme kicks in and you're like, oh, I know this is going to be significant.
Yeah.
You know, like little things like that. The game punctuates itself with music.
Yeah. So, like I said, you've been getting menaced by this this helicopter, which is way outgunning you, and
well, it's
you
a combat
can't fight
helicopter,
it.
of course.
Yeah, it's a military gunship, and like it's going to fuck you up, and you finally get a rocket launcher, and it's like, oh, it's on, and that music starts, and it's just like, oh yeah,
yeah, feels good, man.
Feels good, man. And even then, like the gunship takes 5 rockets to kill, so like but it's just an epic battle. Also, when you get ambushed in the lobby of Black Mesa, it's just like the music that they chose and everything, and it's just like it brings chills while you're playing it, and that's one thing that like Half-Life was so good at. So I had to mention that because
that's
just
kind
so
of how
good.
I felt during the boat chase in Half-Life 2. It just feels so good.
Yeah, no, the song that's playing that like dun 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 dun, oh, so good. Yeah. The boat chase is one of my favorite moments. Probably my favorite moment, one of my favorite moments of video game history is being on top of that building in Half-Life 2 while like your buddies are taking down the Striders.
Striders.
Which, so much. It's so good. It's just like you're not even participating in it.
And this is after an entire level where you're
being
climbing a
menaced
building, trying
by
to avoid one Strider.
Yeah, like Striders are extremely scary. You cannot fight them, and
they're the War of the Worlds tripods. That's what they are.
You cannot fight them.
Not
you
lasers,
outgunned.
but massive and distortion cannons.
Yes.
But yeah, I had to mention this. I know it's not technically, but I mean, come on, it's in the same.
It paved the way for a new era of shooters.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it was recently completed only a little while ago, and I just got to playing it. So
also, it has the best health gaining sound in any video game.
Yeah,
no,
the health device.
That's the shield sound. It's that like it feels so good every time.
When you bottom out on it.
Honestly, I like the Quake Medipack better. Quake 2 Medipack.
It's been too long. I gotta hear that.
It's not as good as the sound of doing damage to the icon of sin, though. That's where it's at.
Oh, by the way, speaking of someone like when there's a Doom guy who makes videos about the data of Doom, and he made a video on what what is the Doom sound set is, like where is it from?
Oh yeah, because I'm sure a lot of it is like sampled from like real things.
That's an interesting point, because I usually hear these sounds and think, oh, that's from Doom, but yeah, it might have been from something else after all.
Many of the guys, they used many of these. There was a big, massive sample compendium.
Sure.
Yeah, probably like a sound library, kind of like what Lucasfilm was doing, with Star Wars for a lot of their sounds, like the Wilhelm scream and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I also wanted to take a moment to talk about Quake 2 RTX. Do either of you know what this is?
No, I don't follow Quake.
Far as I know, it's just a visual polish up of Quake 2.
Yeah, so what happened is NVIDIA and id partnered to make a new ray tracing version of the original Quake 2 as kind of a tech demo for the new line of graphics cards. So
I think you mentioned this on a previous podcast. I forgot.
Yeah, so basically it's Quake 2 but with shiny new lighting. That only certain graphics cards can handle at the moment. Ray tracing is like the big graphical upgrade that all the new systems are going to have, and I luckily got a new laptop recently that already had it built in. But So I just kind of wanted to mention it because, like, it's not every day you see, like, a new version of Quake 2 pop up. I just thought it was pretty cool. So, like, you get, like, a demo of it to try out for free, but if you already own Quake 2 on Steam, you can it'll upgrade the entire game to it. And I recently just started playing some Quake 2, and I've been really enjoying going into it. But you have to mod it a little bit in order to get the original soundtrack in there. There must be some kind of rights issue going on because the soundtrack isn't included in the original purchase. But it does work with it.
If I recall, the original Quake 2 never had a soundtrack. It was added later.
Oh, well, I know that it had a CD soundtrack, and maybe they only include the disc version.
Frontline Assembly and Sonic Mayhem.
Yeah, it's really good, but the re-release version does not have that, unfortunately. And so you can find the files online to add it back into it, though.
Or you can look it up. I recommend looking up Descent into Cerberon by Sonic Mayhem. Pretty good stuff.
Yeah, I just really enjoying playing. Like, I never played these games growing up because, like, you had to have a really good computer to play Quake 2 when it came out, and my system was not prepared for it, for sure. And also, I just kind of missed it. Like, I played a lot of, like, the 2D based shmups at the time, like Dark Forces and stuff like that. I was more of, like, a Star Wars gamer at the time, trying to get my hands on anything I could Star Wars related, because that was a big deal back then, because at that time, that was what we had for Star Wars content.
Oh god, the amount of these old school shooters I dig through, like Death Dwellers and what else was it called? Cyclones and Hidden Below. Anyway.
Yeah. But I just wanted to quickly mention Quake 2 RTX because I was having fun with that. But you have quite a few. You had a few that you wanted to mention here, Dracologist, while we were at it.
Well, there is, for example, Prodeus, which is a new, again, similar to Doom, like a Doom-style shooter, which seemed to be very much following that. Like, it feels like a second Doom made by today technologies. Like, it even uses sprites for enemies.
Oh, they're like 2D.
Yeah, but
objects.
Only high definition version.
That's pretty cool. So you can clearly see them cycling through their animations and stuff like that.
I honestly thought there were voxel and models, but apparently they are. There is Evil. I think we talked about Evil. It's a very good heretic.
Yeah, it's almost like Hexen, right?
Yeah, heretic or Hexen. Although Hexen was mostly known for its level design and the way it gave you the
Hexen is kind of like a Metroidvania, right? Whereas Heretic,
it's a puzzly sort of, like, it has little, like, switch puzzles and it uses a hub world like this, but there are several hub worlds.
Yeah, you need to find items in the levels, come back out, use them with the hub. What was interesting about Hexen in particular, actually it's kind of like Blakestone in this regard, is that you could go back to levels you've already beaten and monsters you've killed stay dead.
In Hexen, you can only go back to the hub, and there were several type of, like, smaller enemies would spawn here and now and then, just to keep it challenging.
Fair enough.
Amityville, again, is more like that. It has the heretic style of magic weapons, but the game plays a little bit like Painkiller.
Yeah, I would agree. But I found that it had a little bit more exploration to it than Painkiller ever did. But
yeah. It had more exploratory levels. There is Dusk. I think everyone knows Dusk.
Dusk is pretty neat. It's almost like Blood or a horror themed
Quake and Blood.
Yeah. It's like if you combine Quake 1 and Blood. I actually like this game quite a bit. It has really cool environments. I really like the level, the levels in it. It's really cool. One of the things that they have you go through is like a corn maze and I really enjoyed doing that. And you fighting the like the scarecrow guys. Oh man, yeah.
It actually sounds nerve-wracking.
It's actually pretty creepy too. Like, you know, I like a game that will put me on my edge, and like it's low tech, but like it works with creepy. You know what I mean? Like,
I know. I think we've mentioned this before, but part of what makes the original Silent Hill so creepy is its low res, like, can't quite tell what you're looking at effect.
Yeah, exactly.
That said, remember, if you're playing Dusk, always have the soap with you. Because if you throw the soap against anything, it's insta give.
Yeah.
No kidding. Huh.
It's a small in joke, but it can be used. It can be used efficiently if you know when to.
Wow. By the way, I just looked at Proteus again, and boy, is this a delicious-looking game. Oh, my God.
Proteus? That game's old.
Proteus.
No, Lotus, definitely check out the trailer for Proteus. It's one of the coolest-looking games I've ever seen. It's so cool. Just like the way that they blend 3D environments with these 2D sprites. It's just really neat.
You know how, like, I think they actually made, like, sprite, like, you know how in Doom, like, you have the full rotation of the, like, half rotation, basically, because the others are mirrored. I think they actually made Proteus sprites, like, that slightly under and over. So when you are standing above and under them, they have a little bit of more illusion of the, what do you call it? Like depth, or like you're looking at a model, not a sprite.
Yeah. It's just really neat looking, and looks like it has a closed beta right now, but it's coming out in November.
What put me off was a little bit, like, the weapons feels a little bit like the samey, like we going by the same of pistol, shotgun, machine gun, and stuff like that.
This does look quite clever.
I like the way this looks. I'm gonna really enjoy this once it fully releases.
Scar.
Simulated
carnage and rockets, which is it's a less professional game. It just caught my eye because, like, I was browsing Steam. It looked like, what I saw, it's basically a high octane punch up type of game. Someone really liked it. Someone really had liked this sort of games. What I experienced.
Yeah, it looks like it has some jump paddy kind of stuff going on.
Well, basically the mobility
stuff going on.
Took every options of mobility from other games and put it into this one. Like, there is dashing, there is butt gliding, there is
it almost has a Tribes feel almost.
And you know what it has? A fucking grappling hook.
Wow,
they even put a grappling hook in it.
I can't believe Proteus ripped off of Halo Infinite.
No, this is Scar, man.
Or Scar, excuse me. I can't believe Scar ripped off of Halo Infinite.
Scar,
I can't believe Mufasa's brother ripped it off.
I can't believe Mufasa's brother.
Please stop this meme. Please let bury this.
Yeah, but like the traversal in this game is unparalleled. Yeah. It's really cool.
The weapons are feeling a little bit janky right now. The shotgun feels nice.
I mean, it's an early access game. I mean, give it.
Yeah, but I really wish I could, like, have a few comments on this, because, like, I do not like when you, like, this is your machine gun, which is the pistol that you have to mash in order to shoot rapidly. I do not want to destroy my mouse button. Thank you.
Yeah.
There is a shotgun that's alt fire is to fire off its like these ammo drums that provide ammunition and use it as explosives. There's a rocket launcher that has a triple homing rocket burst. And the demo doesn't have it, but the game shown that there is a sniper rifle that fires stakes.
Yeah, I like a medieval's weapons probably the best. Like, it's the weapons in that game are really cool. Because they're magic based.
Yes, and because they are, like, breaking away from the standard weapons.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, like, in Scar, there is a melee attack, like, you know, like this buttstock punch, but it absolutely does nothing. Also, I don't like that they connected the alpha. Like, in this regard, Medieval and Scar has a common, like, that you gain, like, this energy from killing enemies, and if you reach maximum and press a button, then you activate the alt fire of weapons, or some weapons alt fire. And I'm not really fan of that because I like when the alt fire is there when I need it, not when I'm not using a Tome of Power from Heretic.
Gotcha. Well, Heretic was cool for its time because it was like one of the first-person shooters with like an inventory, right? Like you could actually. I
don't know, but it was. I know that it was.
That was like the big feature.
It was far more prettier than Doom.
Oh, the environments were much more realistic too. I played Heretic recently, and I'm very surprised that Heretic isn't talked about more. Usually Hexen is in the conversation, but Heretic is not.
Which is a shame, because Heretic is pretty great.
Heretic is a good game on its own. It's a lot of fun.
You can move in 3D space in Heretic. You could fly.
Yeah, no kidding. Like all the different items that you could pick up gave you all kinds of abilities.
Just wanted to say that basically the flight is just giving you the player actor the same trait that the Cacodemons had in Doom.
Yeah,
that's amusing.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that what's happened, but it basically you can give yourself flying.
Sure.
But yeah, okay. I really enjoyed that. And you had another one, what, Citadel?
The Citadel was a little bit disturbing. It's basically like this. I don't know if a developer is Japanese, but it's every enemy and the main character are these like anime girls, which is a little bit off-putting, especially when you realize that even the smallest shot from an enemy cause enemies to explode into gibs.
Yeah, this one looks like it's more based off of like Marathon more than anything, which is unusual because usually games don't emulate Marathon.
It has a few good ideas, but the fact that like when you kill an enemy, you can see like this anime girl with a glazed over eye with her ribcage and guts hanging out is a little bit off-putting. And I think like Mr. Icarus put the best way, like, okay, do I watching someone's Guru fetish?
Yeah. I think I get what you mean by that. And it's also very like everything's very samey looking. So
yeah, the walls like everything is this dull dark cyan.
Yeah.
There's a few good ideas here, but the general feeling is a little bit off-putting.
I wouldn't put it in the same class as the other ones we've talked about.
I think
it's not nearly as cool as the other ones. But I get it. It's similar to maybe like the original Rise of the Triad, just like the way that it feels. Like it just has a very low tech feel to it.
Despite the fact that it runs on Unity and the level maps are 3D. It's just that one of the biggest problems is like the guns don't wobble. Like there's no view bob, and the enemies only have this. They don't have rotation, which is off-putting.
Yeah, I'm more digging on a lot of the other ones, to be honest, and I mean, there's also I Am Fury, which is, of course, a build engine game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like an
updated build engine.
Like an authentic is what I was
Nukem
looking
3D.
for, an authentic throwback.
Yeah, so this was made actually in the original
Yeah, it's not
engine.
in the style of, like, it is.
Yeah, so, I mean, this game really looks cool, and I have a lot of respect for like what was put through, but they really ruined their name with their controversy when they launched. It's a shame because I was excited to play this game, and it just gave me a bad taste in my mouth. But it does legitimately look like a great game. So I'm not gonna take them from that. I probably will get to it at some point, but like
I would recommend just get it and blowing through it.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. Looks like a lot of people really love it too. So, I like the build engine stuff. I'm in the opinion, and I've been going back to a lot of the the old school shooters. Boomer shooters lately, and like I went back and played a bunch of Duke Nukem 3D, and I found that I like the game less and less. I'm sorry.
Balls of steel.
Balls.
Yeah, I've got balls.
One of the funniest things.
Yeah,
one of the funniest things is when you pick up a weapon and the dude goes, "Come get some." Now imagine running through an entire row of weapons.
Well, hail to the king.
No,
what I was going to say is, I really like Duke Nukem 3D when he's in the realistic spaces, but then once you get out of them, like later on in the game, I'm
like
less
in episode
interested.
2 when you're in space.
Yeah, I am much less interested in the in the space.
I liked them all right, but you know what I thought was really cool, but like didn't have a chance to play for years and years before it finally was available online. Was did you ever play the expansion Duke It Out in DC?
No, but I think that's a compelling one because it has a real, obvious realistic spaces.
Yeah, level 1 is the White House, and the level's
awesome.
called, I think it's called Hell to the Chief. It's like stupid as shit, but that's why I like it. And I think like Bill Clinton's at the end of the game because he was the president at the time. It's like so dated.
So many games from that era like make fun of Bill Clinton, like Cruisin'
NBA
USA.
Jam.
Cruisin' USA at the end of the game like has Bill Clinton in like a jacuzzi. With a bunch of ladies.
No, I just remember NBA Jam. You could have him play the sax.
He's a player in NBA Jam, like a secret player.
The Wii NBA Jam like winked at that by having Obama as a playable character.
Yeah, I think it was just Midway. Just had that sense of humor. But
I love like just the stupid bullshit that video games would do back in the day, and they don't as often do now. Like you should have seen my face when I found out that big head mode was actually a thing in Arkham City. Like, I could not fucking believe it.
Big head mode. Oh, man. That
remember that?
But, and I think we have room for one more Dracologist before we move on.
Which one do you want? Hellbound, Ultra Kill?
Whatever you want.
I don't know any of these.
Hellbound, I can't say too much good about because it feels like a game that going on to be, oh yeah, we're going to be so fucking old school, and they kind of they shot themselves in the knee with that comment. It's not a bad try, but it could be better. On the other way, Ultra Kill feels like absolute godsend with its high speed nonsense shooty bang bangs.
I never see Ultra Kill when I do really well in COD.
It's also like all of the sudden it had this hidden level that was like had like puzzles in it.
Yeah,
this looks very Serious Sammy Hellbound.
Yeah. Like when the best idea for Altfire for the Gatling gun was to use Iron Sight, I kind of lost it. Like lost this a part of my interest.
Yeah. I'm not as big on this one, but I definitely want Proteus. That looks neat. That looks like a lot of fun. All right, well, I think we gave a good survey of the landscape. I'm glad that we live in an era where there's room for all kinds of different shmups, including old style as well as new ones. We live in an era where there's a big enough market for all of these things. Ultra Kill looks
well. It's the same thing with movies. People who grew up on certain stuff are now old enough to make it themselves. And like, you know what I like when I was a kid? Point and click adventures, like Doom style FPSs. So we have all this new stuff, but we have the retro throwbacks as well.
Yeah, I think this is really neat. I mean, I still like newer games as well. I like Wolfenstein games and all that stuff, and the new Doom games. Yeah. But this is great. All right, well, we should move on to fan stuff, Lotus.
Sure. We have comments from a few people. The first one is from Dracologist himself. So Dracologist made a few comments. One of them, I can't use instruments, maybe plink away at a piano amateurishly, but I have a singing voice. Also, I am somehow saddened by the fact that we need to explain what exactly Candid Camera is.
It's punked.
Yeah, remember punked? Also, Dracologist echoes what I said. Subnautica is not a guided experience. It's a survival game.
All right, I was wrong.
Yeah. Jeez, Vice, for God's sake. You're trying to build and solve problems while giant fish try to nibble on your behind. Torchlight 3 is kind of a letdown. The old dev team was put aside for a different one, and they basically made a mobile phone game. Recently, Dino survival game The Isle, the main dev turned out to be a human turd as well. And also Martian Gothic. I get it. Hey! We got someone who got my joke from last time.
Yeah, like the font-based joke.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. And Dracologist
at least it wasn't sans serif.
Well, no, because it was. We didn't have it.
It was with serif. Gothic
it
has
serif. No, it was sans serif. I didn't mention serif once. But yeah, Dracologist also said Penguin, the Batman villain, was a quirky mob boss with an eye for bird-themed jewels. He also later mellowed out occasionally, helping out the Bat in small information. Favorite bestiary? Diablo, including Hellfire and Diablo 2. Nox, which was a Diablo-like
game. And the cows that go
moo. Yeah. Nox, which was a Diablo-like game where you didn't just have an in-game bestiary, but collecting the info on the creatures would give you bonus damage against them. Oh, Bioshock 2 did that.
That's cool. You set up the cameras.
You take pictures?
Yeah, that was cool.
That was research morely, but there were no information in it.
Well, fair enough. And for one class, add the ability to summon them. Terraria has a nice cookie bundle of monsters, DMC series along with Bayonetta, but the gold goes for Eternal Darkness and the Suffering, with voice-acted bestiary pages. Yeah. Those are real damn good.
The Suffering had a cool one.
The voice acting for both of those, so, like, it's just straight, but very serious in the Suffering, and, like, going mad in Eternal Darkness. They're both very, very well done. The Suffering monsters especially really left me with memories. Yeah, they were very thematically created. They were all forms of execution.
Lotus, did you play the second game?
No, not yet.
Was it The Ties That Bind?
Yeah, The Ties That Bind.
Yeah.
Yep.
I still need to get back to those. I have the Xbox versions.
I got them on PS2. School Filmer had a couple comments. I did quite enjoy the Indie World presentation all around. I do wonder what's taking Mineko's Night Market so long. It's been almost 2 years, give or take some months, since the teaser came out. And favorite bestiary? Hard to say, but I do remember Breath of the Wild having a log where you take pictures of enemies or things with the Sheikah slate, or you could buy them with rupees somewhere, and it'll appear in there. And then you can set a tracker on it, so if you're missing any treasure chests, looking for giant horses, or itching to take it on Linnels, it'll let you know when you're close to it.
Oh. Yeah,
and
I
then
forgot
Living
about
Corpses
that.
And Living Corpses a few comments. If I'd known that GDQ was going digital this year, I would have practiced speedrunning a game for them. Oh well. And then the Riddler's my favorite Batman villain, so I'm glad they brought him back for a live-action movie, and he's coming off creepy as hell. Props for actually winning in his first episode of Batman the Animated Series. He didn't kill his former boss.
No, but he made him
still out there.
Yeah, he made him.
Yeah, the last shot of the episode is the guy like in bed with a shotgun, like quaking. It's amazing.
Yeah. He's just like all the money in the world can't buy you a good night's sleep. Yeah, if you're terrified.
And that's what Living Corpse says. How much is a good night's sleep worth? That's a good question.
Yeah, no, that's great.
And then speaking of demos, it's weird to me that they've become so rare that PT was short for playable trailer or teaser, and Kojima was like, it's the first of its kind. And I'm like, you mean a demo, right? We had those when I was a kid. I played a demo for Metal Gear Solid when I was like 10. You're a genius, but don't think we're idiots who don't remember what the gaming world was like growing up. Nah, I'm going to disagree on this one because PT was not at all representative of what Silent Hills was supposed to be.
Yeah,
it was a thematic teaser. Like, you wouldn't play PT somewhere within Silent Hills.
About PT, I do want to comment that there was an interesting little topic. Like, someone actually like managed to ghost out into the area, that open area of place where the outside thing, and it's surprisingly well made.
Oh, really?
Like, you can actually go look around a little bit further before the world ends. Like,
I love when people do that on GDQ where they exit the boundaries of a level, but it turns out like you can actually walk on the ground outside the boundaries of the level. It's like, they actually made the architecture here, which is weird.
Yeah, I mean, PT was cool because like that it was not going to have that kind of gameplay. It was its own game to tease you.
Yeah, you're not going to run around in a
game.
Circle for the entirety of Silent Hills.
Yeah, I mean, like, there were like a few games that were kind of like that, or a few teasers that are kind of been like that since then. Like, they had a similar type of teaser for Resident Evil 7.
Oh, was that not in the game?
Oh, no, that was completely unique content. That demo is worth keeping.
And kind of sort of the Stanley Parable, because the entire demo was oh, just wait until we get to the demo
exactly.
of Stanley Parable, you're gonna love it.
Yeah, I mean, there have been other unique demos, but I mean, this game, the PT wasn't even going to be like the game. That's what was unique about it, and I still don't think there's anything like that. I mean, Half-Life had a demo with a completely different environment than what you ended up with at the end of the game, or when the game actually came out. So the original Half-Life demo is actually worth keeping too, because it's unique content.
And this is a really, really weird thing to bring up, but the demo for Sentient
Sentient.
for PS1, Sentient, had a demo with like a mission that didn't exist in the final game. It was just like, here's an idea of what the game will be like.
Yeah. Like, some of that stuff is really cool to look back at, but like PT, I other than that Resident Evil 7 demo, I don't think there's anything out there that's like that, where you play a demo in a completely different way than you would play the game eventually.
Okay.
Yeah, like I can't think of anything other than those two games.
And then one more comment from. And even then, Resident Evil 7 came after, so PT was...
it was clearly inspired by PT. Clearly.
Yeah. So Living Corpse has one more thing for bestiaries. Probably the Metroid Prime games. So many creatures with several pages of detailed log entries. They really went all out with the world building. Yeah, they did.
Absolutely.
And then our question is from School Filmer. What games would you have liked to see a spiritual successor to? Personally, I wouldn't mind seeing a game that plays like Gift Pia. That one's a hard game to categorize. You'll have to watch footage of it yourself. Or maybe something like Mr. Smoozles Goes Nutso! An adventure game with arcade elements, picking up items, talking to others, solving puzzles. I apologize if I constantly reference that game. Maybe one day I'll take a look at Bug Fables. My answer is probably low-hanging fruit, because they actually went for it and failed. But I wouldn't mind seeing a follow-up to Eternal Darkness in some way or shape or form. It's just
we had that opportunity, Lotus.
That's what I just said. Like, the crowdfunding campaign for it bombed pretty hard, though, because it looked like it was being mismanaged.
Well,
and it fell
Dennis
apart.
Dyack is clearly a rip-off artist.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, first of all, that I just remembered something, that Moon came out this week on Switch.
Yeah.
That is a very important game, and basically, like, a lot of games, including like the one with Sans in it, Jesus Christ, Undertale. Undertale, like, are huge. It has a huge inspiration. So definitely look at that. I mean, I'm more in favor of like RPGs that are anti-RPGs, like Moon is. I definitely want more stuff like that have like a heartwarming story. You could definitely see that Moon is clearly made by the people that made Tulip, but in a less annoying way than Tulip turned out. But I just want.
All you want to do is kiss people, though.
Yeah. Actually, while we're at it, I was going to mention this while we were talking, and I didn't get a chance. But I would love a spiritual successor to Hexen. Like I would like a Metroidvania, like a more FPS, but done in the old school
Hexen
way.
2?
Yeah. No, not like Hexen 2. Get out of here. I don't want Hexen 2 or Heretic 2. Get out of here with both of them. But
both are good games, though. So
they're not.
I tried Heretic 2.
You're entitled to your bad opinion.
I can't speak for Hexen 2, but I was not into Heretic 2.
I mean, there's a reason why you can't find Hexen 2. Or
it's
Heretic 2. Heretic 2, yeah. I don't think you can find Heretic 2. You can find Hexen 2. But yeah, I mean, I want more of a Metroidvania feeling game, more so than Heretic was, because I really like that style of gameplay, and you know, we got that with Metroid Prime and games like that, you know, a 3D Metroidvania. But I wanted
an actual Metroidvania.
Yeah, but
FPS.
I do want that with the aesthetic and feel of an old school first person shooter. So I think that is very much a do thing. I think
so you're saying you would love it if Jumping Flash 4 were a Metroidvania?
Actually, yes. I love Jumping Flash, first of all. So, bringing back Jumping Flash would be amazing. Jumping Flash is still very playable today, and a great game. I will take no tomfoolery, leveled towards Jumping Flash, because that's a lovely game. But yeah, go ahead. Any other choices here for a spiritual successor?
Let me think. Well, I think like spiritual successor or one is a required sequel, a most wanted sequel, because these are a little bit different. Because on spiritual successor, I've played so many games, I do not know which one I would like to have a sequel on. But on games I'm actually I would like to see sequels. Like, for example,
maybe think of it like a series that just kind of died, and you'd like another company to pick it up, like Ukulele or something.
I would like to see, for example, Warhammer Space Marine completed as a trilogy it meant to be. Before Nordic, not Nordic. What was that company that died?
THQ.
THQ died.
Yeah, I could see that. For sure.
Because fucking Space Marines. Although nowadays we kind of thanks to GV mishandling, we kind of too much, kind of suffocating under space. Is it power armor? So.
I would like a spiritual successor to Fucker in the Rome.
I would like. We knew somebody who could make something like that.
Maybe Ether Lords, something like that, like sort of this story stuff, like what is it? What do you call it? Trading card game with a story that is not like entirely made of text boxes and.
Like Bait and Kaidos.
Which one was that?
The RPG on the GameCube where
you
didn't trade.
I remember
cards.
No. Like actual bad, like Magic the Gathering. The Ether Lords was unique in that way that when you're not just seeing a card playing game like where the cards are shown, but anytime you summon a monster, they actually appear next to your presented character, and you can move them around. Even if the game plays.
I know this is different from what you're saying, but it almost makes me think of Battle Chess, where it's just chess, but when you capture a piece, you watch them fight it out.
Somewhat. It's now to think of it, Drakan Order of Flame could use some sort of spiritual sequel, but that game was broken and had some issues. But as if Dragon Flying was fun.
How about
If you made the game right, then it would be awesome.
How about
it's not even.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that not even that, but just the concept of like the on-foot combat was boring. I think this is like a good sequel would be Scalebound, but that got scrapped.
How about a spiritual successor to Skies of Arcadia? I would love that.
I had thought of that. Yeah,
that would be cool.
Yeah, I would absolutely love that, because I don't necessarily need this, because that story had a beginning, middle, and end. So like it doesn't need the same characters, but.
I mean, I almost see Valkyria Chronicles as a spiritual successor. I mean, like, it's not a turn-based RPG. It kind of is, but like,
it doesn't have that
thematically. It feels similar.
Exploration feel though. That's
no.
What I want.
You're not an explorer. Yeah.
Maybe
the only thing that probably that comes close is maybe Rogue Galaxy. That it's the only thing that's close to it in tone, if you ask me.
I would say maybe something similar to Brutal Legend, maybe a little bit more hack and slash and less real-time strategy.
I could see that, because I remember even when the game came out, based on the trailers, it was not obvious that it was an RTS, and people were like, "Oh,
yeah."
Spiritual successor,
Brutal Legend,
hard reset.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, we live in a great era where we get a lot of spiritual successors to things. I still think that probably the most underrepresented genre of games is still the space flight sim. I don't think nearly enough
that niche
games
is
come
kind
out
of filled
in that
out
genre.
with Elite.
I'm sorry?
That niche is kind of filled out with Elite. It's just
but it's the only game of its type. There are tons of other types of games that you can make in space flight sim. You can make something that's a lot more arcadey and a lot more approachable than Elite. Elite is not approachable.
There is an upcoming game with Star Wars elements.
Yeah, that is something that I'm looking forward to. But I would even like something more like just like Colony Wars or something like that. It's just like something that has a good blend of arcadey and simmy elements, but without being too harsh. Because a lot of those games are so hard. They're very, very difficult, and they're not approachable because of it. I go ahead and try to play like the original X-Wing. It is like one of the hardest games I've ever played in my life.
Yeah, I tried that recently, and like I can't beat like level 2. Like it's fucking ridiculous. And I think part of it is
everybody says that.
Like I can't get my teammates to do what I want. I googled the controls for it, but it doesn't seem to work right, or I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. Yeah. TIE Fighter was way more approachable.
Yeah, you're not the only one to say that. In fact, a lot of people all say, tons of fans of TIE Fighter in particular say that TIE Fighter, these Star Wars ones say that TIE Fighter is the much better game because of that. Like the games is like near impossible, the X-Wing game. Which is a shame because like if you want to play them in order, you just can't because it'll just stop you, stop you in your tracks.
You get stopped so fast.
Yeah, and you want to play as the good guys most of the time. Well, most people do. You want to play as the good guys.
Well, that's the thing. It's so fun to play as the bad guys because it's a departure. It's like, oh, this time I get to play as the bad guys. Ooh, let's see what happens.
No, you want to play as Luke Skywalker. Come on. I mean, like you want to play as somebody on Red Team. And beat the Death Star.
Red leader, this is gold leader.
You want to be punching up, not punching down, right? If you're the Empire, you're already winning. That's the point, right? So, like, crushing the scrappy rebel alliance beneath your boot is not very exciting or compelling.
Well, I want to play as the good guys to be able to recreate like iconic scenes from the movie, but I want to play as the bad guys because you never get to control a TIE fighter.
Exactly. TIE fighters are like canonically terrible. Like they're meant.
Well, they're mass produced like one-shot pieces of garbage.
But they're not bad, but they actually.
They don't have shields.
They're not bad, but there's 10 billion of them. It's like whatever.
They're a bit flimsy.
Yeah, they're meant to be like throwaway, like the canonically, yeah. But anyway, I think we answered this pretty good.
Yeah, we're set.
So, does anybody else have anything for the good of the order before we finish up today?
I think I'm good.
Okay,
I'm
forever
good.
Hold your peace. That is the show for this week. Please remember to subscribe to the Corrective Consciousness YouTube and SoundCloud pages. While there, please give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. It helps promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. And thank you so much for submitting your questions and your comments. As always, we really, really enjoy it, and please keep it up. You can also catch us on Tuesdays for our sister podcast, Reactive Consciousness, the in-depth look in this week in our lives, and hopefully next week we'll continue on with our Castlevania discussion. Finally, you can friend me as vysethebold on pretty much anything.
And you can follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince. And finally, if you are interested in seeing my videos early, getting in on exclusive live streams, selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play, or getting in conversations with me and other patrons on Discord, then perhaps consider swinging by my Patreon account, which can be found at patreon.com/LotusPrince.
And you can find me on Discord, on Skype, and on Steam under the name Dracologist.
All right, very lovely. We'll catch everybody on Tuesday then.
Until next time, everyone.
Good evening.